Hello everybody, this is Darren Redmond for Redmond's Wrap Up, brought to you by FHT Sports. I want to talk a little bit about Major League Baseball. We're at about the 1/4 mark of the season, 25% in, and so many people panic. Well, the team's not off to a good start. Oh, there's injuries. And these things need to be taken into account, but it's a long season. It's 162 games. It's not a 16-game schedule or even an 80-game schedule. Nothing against those sports. I love them. Played football. Big hockey fan. My son plays hockey. Baseball is a true marathon. Even the playoffs are marathons. No one and done. So right now, what you want to do at the 25% mark is you want to kind of look at the season and see where you're struggling a little bit and where you might need to make some changes. Or if there is injuries, what do you have going on the AAA farm team? There's a few teams right now, very, very few. The Rangers, Texas Rangers are one in the West. Your White Sox are struggling right now, 9.5 out. Texas is 10 games out. And the Marlins are 10 games out. And the Reds are 11 games out. And you have the Dodgers only 8.5 games out. And I say only because one good week and you're 5 games out, you're in it. So it's just not a time to panic. What you want to do is you want to address some tendencies, right? I mean, the Yankees got off to just a terrible start. But you know, with Stanton and Judge and some of the pitching that they have there, that they were going to go on a big run. They're going on a big run now. Every team has a big run in them. Maybe not 18 games or 19 games where they only lose one game. But, you know, I heard Ron Darling, he does the announcer for the New York Mets. He said, look, win your series. Win 2 out of 3, win 3 out of 4, and you're going to be there. You get 10 games over 500 by the end of the year, you're in the wild card hunt. 20 games over 500, chances are pretty good you go into the playoffs. So, I mean, that's where you got to look at things right now. So, you know, when I read things like Bumgarner coming back, maybe going to the Yankees, that just doesn't make any sense. I mean, because if you look at it, first of all, you know, the Giants are 3.5 games out of first. It's early. I mean, we're not even into, June yet. And Bumgarner, it hasn't even played yet. So if you're a San Francisco Giant fan, for example, you just want to tread water. Stay near 500 till Bumgarner comes back and make the big run. You have a really good team there. You know, the Cubs did it last year, right? I mean, they struggled mightily first half of the season. And then they just came on strong. So the Mets got off to a big start this year, and now they're back in the pack, 4.5 games out. A lot of injuries. Released Matt Harvey. DeGrom got hurt. Hyperextended his elbow. You have Cespedes who's hurt. So, you have these things that happen. The Dodgers, with Seager getting injured. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. But how strong is the farm team? Who's going to rise? Who's going to come out of nowhere? And provide that pop, that surprise. Every team has that. So, when you see a team struggling, nobody wants to see the team 10 games out of first, right? I mean, you just don't. But it's not time to wave the white flag. It's a long season. You haven't even gone through the league yet to notice tendencies. Well, they got a couple of pitchers. Here's what they do. Next time we play them, here's what we're going to do. We have 3 no-hitters already, and I reported about that before. Right? I mean, in this young season. It's not even May 20th yet. Not even at Memorial Day. 3 no-hitters. And we had another perfect game going into the 7th inning in San Diego not too many days ago. So for those of you who follow baseball like I do, and again, don't rush the game. There is no clock for a reason. It's a great sport. And a lot of action. The Boys of Summer, it's called the Boys of Summer for a reason. It's called the Fall Classic for the reason. It's not spring has sprung and then we're done. So a lot of time, a lot of season left. So, sit back, enjoy your MLB app, go to a game, go to a few. Serge Bogosian, the hockey guru, will be talking about what happened in Vegas tonight, I'm sure, and give it that proper context. So I'll stay talking about baseball for a while. So don't panic if your team is not on to a good start. Be happy if your team is right now, and don't get upset if they fall back a little bit. Because there's an ebb and flow to everything, right? There's ebbs and flows in nature, right? The tide comes in, the tide comes out. Sports teams have the same sort of thing. You want to peak at the right time. So don't panic. Enjoy. Watch the games. And again, comment, please. Like, subscribe. I'd like to hear what you think. How do you think your team is doing right now? And how could your team turn things around or stay on the roll that they might be on? No team is out of it. Remember, 1979, I believe it was, or 78, the New York Yankees were 14 and a half games out and made a mad rush and won the World Series. I believe it was 78. The New York Mets, when they won the division by 6 or 7 games in 1969, they were down by like 9 games in mid-August. It's when you get hot. San Francisco Giants, they got into the World Series after getting in the backdoor wild card on the road. So, when the Dodgers won their last World Series, it didn't look like they were going to beat the Mets, and they did. Came back. Socha, big home run. Hershiser, double nickel on the mound, making it happen. So, enjoy the game. Don't panic. It's way too early. Enjoy the great game, and stop trying to rush it. It's a great game. This is Darren Redmond for FHT Sports with Redmond's Wrap-Up for May 17th, 2018. Thank you.